Twisted obsession. What would you do for love? Would you go to the ends of the world? Would you give up everything you have? Would you go to the brink of life and death? If you are willing to do anything, you may just find yourself falling for our romantic new jungle skirmisher who will be twisting the hearts and possessing minds early next year. Hey guys, and welcome back to another League of Legends video. It's time to look at the abilities that the Ruined King might have, which is basically just a new champion theory that I find quite interesting. Based on the statements that I said right at the beginning of the video, there is a very clear depiction of what happened to the Ruined King and how he became who he is. The Ruined King's wife was poisoned by a venom blade wielded by an assassin and eventually died, but Thresh had led him into the waters of life in the Blessed Isles that was rumored to have the power to revive people. It did its job, but the end product was a horrific maggot-infested undead monster begging to die as soon as it had the power to move again. So the king had performed a spell to do as he wished, but it was amplified multiple times by the mythical artifacts of the island, which promptly created the Black Mist and made the beings that live there through curse. Riot has been focusing more on bringing life to the characters in the lore, as it is indeed a pretty big universe. So in the roadmap, we will see a ton of hints and even outright telling us just who they are with a ton of informations. And just by looking at the picture of the Ruined King in the trailer, we see a huge resemblance to him. The biggest thing is we know who he's going to be in a gameplay aspect. He's going to be a jungler, a skirmish jungler. We're going to speculate or find out what kind of jungler he is based on his lore, his characteristics, and small little hints that Riot has given us on his roadmap. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and let's get into it. So, his possible abilities. First, let me reread the statement from the start. If you are willing to do anything, you may just find yourself falling for our romantic new jungle skirmisher who will be twisting hearts and possessing minds early next year. This is probably the single most important sentence that's going to give us the idea of what kind of abilities the Ruined King is supposed to have. And since Riot has been staying true to the lore of the character when it comes to abilities, best to actually read over his lore and then begin speculating abilities. The king went mad with the death of his wife, demanding death to anyone who wanted them to be separated, and then he wanted revenge for her death, invading rival kingdoms, and while this was going on, the corpse was slowly decaying. The king would do anything to save his wife, even demanding his own niece to be killed due to insubordination. So yeah, the king was pretty much a horrible person who just loved his wife. Since he is labeled a skirmisher, he specializes in battles where he has an ally by his side, which is very fitting for a king. And by twisting hearts and controlling minds, it probably means that he has some sort of ability which allows you to temporarily have enemies attack others. We'll look into this in a few ways. Giving taunt to an enemy, maybe it's a basic ability. So this one works just like a taunt, but instead of the enemies attacking you, nearby enemy champions or even minions will attack the person you've casted this ability on. It can also function like a short slow or some sort of movement impairment ability. And this would fit really well straight into the lore, not only twisting the minds, but twisting the hearts as they turn the enemies against one another. Now, I don't think it would be very strong because of gameplay logistics, but it would be pretty cool if you taunted someone and had them force attack the person near them. I'm not too sure if it'll work, if that's how it'll work, but you know, I'm holding my hopes out. Another basic ability, maybe similar to Azir, would be to summon soldiers to fight. As a king, we can imagine that he has the ability to control people much like Azir, and in terms of champions coming from the Shadow Isles, they have control on some sort of minions. Yorick has his ghouls, Elise has her spiders, and even Maokai has his saplings. So I picture something similar will be brought to this king. I mean, maybe it's just full-on soldiers that you control like Azir, but I highly doubt that. Maybe you summon soldiers that run and attack someone, maybe he summons something else, but odds are he's gonna have some sort of summoning ability, as it not only fits with him, but everyone else from the Shadow Isles has one, so it would be very weird if he doesn't. Another ability we could speculate is some sort of rage buff. As we mentioned before, he's gone mad, and having a rage ability would suit him pretty well. Buffing all allies and summon soldiers near him would be a really good fit, and of course would make him a great skirmisher. It would maybe increase auto attack or boost attack damage, not too sure, but I could see it happening. Another ability we could speculate is some sort of dash towards his soldiers. Now, I'm going to be clear here. They would be something similar to Azir, how he dashes to his soldier, and Riot is obviously known to move some abilities from one champion to another because it fits gameplay logistics very well, and there's nothing in the lore that I could give you as to why there would be a dash, but a dash or some sort of movement ability on a skirmisher is quite important. And since he's from the Isles, maybe some sort of weird teleport to his soldiers could be a cool thing that they could possibly explore. Now, I want to kind of speculate his ultimate ability as well, and I'm thinking, what if he could gain control of a single corpse as an ultimate ability? That would be interesting. For the ultimate, I can see him reusing the old ultimate of Mordekaiser, as it is very similar to what happened to his wife in the Waters of Life, or at least something like that, as you know, they kind of hint in his champion roadmap that he would control minds, and what better way than being able to ult someone that you killed and have them come back up as an ally who helps fight. However, they would have to rework it, as we've seen it fall through with Mordekaiser for a reason, but some sort of reworked version of that would be super fitting for the king, and I would love to see it because I think it had a lot of potential, but it fell through, so Riot could definitely do some rework on that. Alternatively, instead of gaining control of a single corpse, maybe he could summon the dead as an ultimate ability. It can possibly be an ultimate which could summon multiple undead soldiers at once in a given area for a very short duration that could do ton of DPS in that moment. This could be a great ability for taking down objects, both towers and monsters, and would make him a great fighter. I mean, I'm not sure how it would work. Maybe if he summons his soldiers and they fall, he could then use his ultimate and they all come back to life at once and charge the enemies. Maybe if your allies are dead, you use their bodies to attack the enemies for a little while. Maybe you use the enemies' bodies and resummon them, or maybe everyone dead on the ground. Can you just imagine like 4 of your allies dead, 3 of the enemies dead, and you just pop your ultimate and 7 people rise and just charge like an army? Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Riot would not go that crazy, but when I start thinking, I get a little creative with it, and I can imagine a lot of cool things. But maybe some sort of summoning from the dead, even if it's not a single corpse, but multiple, could definitely be a possibility. Someone also made a funny recommendation for his passive, which is Ruined King passive. When you reach level 6, the Blade of the Ruined King is added to your inventory, and that's quite genius, but obviously maybe not that logistically smart, but I could definitely see it, and honestly, I don't have my own ideas for the passive, so why not ask you guys? Go down into the comments if you have any idea for prediction of his ability, his ultimate, his passive. Let me know down below. But anyways, in conclusion, we gotta bear in mind that all of these are speculation. Me and you, we're having a discussion through this video, and I really picture him as a fighter, as it would be a huge crime to make him a champion and not let him be able to use the Blade of the Ruined King item. It would make a lot of sense since he already is a skirmisher, and it'd be interesting to hear your ideas once more in the comments down below. But controlling minds, that's the thing I'm excited about. Anyhow, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.